Hey guys, Devin Gridley at Allfather Fitness, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not you should be training to failure. And this is a huge topic in the fitness industry, especially now with all the different sides of the fitness industry. There are people that are saying that you should train as hard as possible, and people who are super scientific and they say you should train to this IRR, this RPE, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just going to do my best to clear it up, and the best way I can do that really is go over the pros and cons of all the different types of training to failure you can do. And I think that's where a lot of the misconceptions about training to failure come from, is the fact that there's two different types of training to failure. And one of those sections is training to failure within a workout, and the other one being training to failure within a set. And the people who are all really scientific and they say you shouldn't train to failure and this and that, they're thinking about training to failure within a set instead of training to failure within a workout. So let me give you an example. So training to failure within a set is, let's take the bench press for example. If you train to failure within a set, it means at whatever weight you're using, you lift it until you cannot lift it any more at all, and you do that for basically every single set of your entire bench press routine or workout that you're doing. So if you do 4 sets of the bench press and you do every single one at 100% and you go to the absolute maximum that you can't lift anymore. So let's say you start at 135 and you can lift it for 10 reps, and then you up it by 20 pounds to 155 and you can only do 8 reps, and you keep going until you just, like, you can't lift the bar anymore. Every time you do a certain weight, you just keep going, and doesn't matter what rep you hit, you just can't lift the bar anymore. And that is completely different than lifting to failure within a workout. That is completely different. So lifting to failure within a set is just lifting to failure in that particular set, while lifting to failure in a workout is completely different. And that is, for example, if you're doing the bench, well, you have to do it in sense of your entirety of the workout. So if you're doing a chest day or an arm day or whatever, it means by the end of your workout you should not be able to lift any more weight. Doesn't matter what weight it is. And this comes from you depleting the glycogen in your muscles and literally just having no energy to be able to lift the weight. And you feel this a lot when you take pre-workout. If you take pre-workout and you do a super intense workout and you go to failure within that workout, you will feel like you have so much energy because you're on, a bunch of caffeine. You feel like you could just go, but you literally just can't get the bar up at all. It doesn't matter what exercise you're doing, as long as it pertains to that certain day that you're doing. You just can't get the weight up, and that means that you went to failure within that workout. You depleted all the glycogen, and a lot of people talk about this. People like Arnold Schwarzenegger, they say you have to deplete the muscle, and that's what that means, train to failure within a workout. And this is what a lot of the bodybuilders and people who are saying train harder are saying, and that is completely different than all the scientific people saying train to failure within a set. So what are the pros and cons of training to failure within a set? I think it's important to cover each of those, pros and cons of both. So if you're training to failure within a set, what are the cons? The cons are that you have a really high risk of injury, because even if you have really good form, training to failure within a set is going to greatly increase your ability to be injured, because if you're lifting to failure, you don't know if you're going to get the bar up on that next rep or not, and you could end up dropping the bar on yourself, or you have to sacrifice your form to get the bar up, unless you have a spotter. If you have a spotter, then that con doesn't really apply to you, because a spotter could just lift the bar off you, or they can help you, or they can do something like a deficit rep or something like that. So that con doesn't really matter if you have a spotter, but if you don't, then you really have to take that into consideration, because being injured is not something you want to do. The gains you may have got from training to failure like that aren't going to outweigh you being injured for a month and losing mass or a lot of strength. That's obviously what you're training for if you're training to failure within a set. And that's another thing we have to talk about. A pro of training to failure within a set is that you're going to get way more strength gains and potentially more muscle gains, depending upon what type of muscle fibers you have and the genetics you have. But I'm not really going to cover that right now, because every single person is different. You might respond better to lighter weights, moderate weights, heavy weights. It's just up to you, so you have to figure that out for yourself. But if you're training to failure within a set, it's usually because you want higher strength gains and you're using a lot heavier weight in training to failure within that. So those are the pros and cons of that, really. And the pros and cons of training to failure within a workout is, the pro on, like, if you're comparing the two, the pro on training to failure within workout is that you don't really have a high risk of injury. There's because you're not using super high weights like that. You're not really going for strength, and that's the con of this, is that it's not really for strength, it's for depleting your muscle and using up as much energy as possible and training super intensely. And the pro of that is the harder you're working, the more gains you're going to get out of it. That's how it works. The more adaptation you're able to, or more stress you're able to put on yourself, the more adaptation you're going to gain from it. So that's a pro of both sides, really. But in my opinion, training to failure within a workout is better because of that, because you put more stress on the body with a less likely risk of injury, and you're able to adapt more because of that. So these two things, how can you answer the question, should you train to failure within a workout? Should you train to failure within a set? Over the information that I've provided, it's quite obvious that training to failure within a set isn't really optimal for a lot of people, especially people that are new to the gym, like the people who are watching my videos. So if you're training to failure within a set, I would highly recommend not doing that anymore. I would more rather, if I was your coach, which I guess I kind of am since I'm teaching you over YouTube, but I would recommend that you just strictly practice your form, because once you have perfect form, you're able to go and do that advanced training technique of going to failure within a set and being able to use heavier weights doing that. But being a newer person, a newbie to the gym, training to failure within a workout is a lot easier, I guess you could say, because you don't have to have absolute perfect form to do it. You just go through the motions, basically. You can either just have really high reps and deplete yourself that way, or have a lot of volume, or you could just do things, more advanced training techniques like supersets and drop sets. And the con of doing that, obviously, is that you're not going to be practicing form, which you should always be practicing perfect form. But the thing about that is, obviously, if you're new to the gym, you're not going to have perfect form. You're not going to have perfect form for a while. So as you're working on it, you can still get a lot of gains by working out or training to failure within a workout. So my answer overall is, if you're an advanced lifter, then you can kind of pick and choose, because you know your body, you know how much weight you can lift, you know how many reps you're able to do, how many sets. You're able to gauge basically what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. So training to failure is within a set and a workout. You could probably do both. If you're really advanced, it's going to be a lot easier for you. But if you're a newer person at the gym, training to failure within a workout is going to work way more to your advantage than training to failure within a set, because way less risk of injury, and that's really important. So hopefully this helped you out a lot. I know it is a really hot topic to answer, really hard thing to answer, but I just hope that you got the message. That message being, if you're newer to the gym, just practice on form so you get better experience in the gym. And if you really want to train hard, you want to train to failure, then train to failure within a workout instead of training to failure within a set. It's going to just give you more gains than it would doing the other one, obviously. So I hope that helped you out. I wish I knew this when I was training, because I've gotten injured like 3 times or twice or something, and those were all because of doing stupid things like ego lifting, training to failure within a set instead of training to failure within a workout. So if I had known this information when I had first started training, maybe I wouldn't have gotten injured and had to have the huge layoffs that I had and the huge deficits that I gained from that. So hopefully this video was able to help you. If it was, please comment down below and say that it did help you, or like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification so you get notifications on when I post new videos, because me posting videos has been kind of rare. I've been doing all types of stuff with work and all this good stuff, so knowing when I post videos is really important, so you're able to learn and hopefully catch yourself making mistakes and not make them anymore, obviously. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider watching the videos that will be right here in the end screen, and any of the cards that were above in the videos below, or the few videos I have down in the description. I would greatly appreciate it. But that is all I got for this one, and I will see you in the next one.